Hey guys, Mol from Evil Speculator. I am looking at Bitcoin right now. I find it quite compelling, the price action, and I actually tried to record this stuff, just 2 or 3 hours ago, but couldn't because QuickTime wasn't really delivering on my OS X the way it should. Anyway, long story short, just bought myself some more professional tools, and hopefully this is getting recorded properly. Now, look at Bitcoin, right? Look at this chart, and this breakout right now, which seems to be pushing us now towards 10,000 again. I kind of wanted to go through that and talk about a few highlights, right? The first thing we want to look at is this potential, double bottom here. And of course, at the time you don't know it, right? Because it's kind of how it looks like, And at this point, once this candle right here, at the very bottom corner here, once this terminates, right, once it's on the map for posterity and eternity, then we know we have potentially a spike low in place, right here. It's a subtle spike low, but this one didn't break through. So it's possible that a low forms here, and as candles now start popping up, now we seeing a little bit more upside. Okay, that looks good. Maybe we're actually getting kind of a support line here. That would be nice, right? And, oops, sorry about that. And I have to kind of reset that. All right. So, what happened? A little bit pushback, but it fails because it paints kind of a hammer candle. And then, boom, right? This is getting now really interesting. Now, and if I look at price action like that, sometimes I'm tempted to actually take an early entry here, right? Especially if there's a little bit pushback. And now, what's happening here, right? This is probably when you start worrying a little bit, and you think, okay, maybe this is going to fall apart. But this is when it gets really interesting, right? Because this opens up the potential of basically a retest spike low, which is these are among my favorite formations actually, and boom! I mean, I was actually trying to record when this happened, and it drove me crazy because this was really a crucial move, because when you look at, let me try to paint this right here. Let's see that. This spike high, once this was breached, right? This was almost procedural. Right? Yeah, there could have been if this would have failed, the odds would have actually supported retest of the lows and perhaps even lower. But somehow the bulls get out of the gate, right? And what happens afterwards is, quick push higher, run out of steam, people are taking profits, and now we're getting a little bit more, a little more pushback. And look, here, similar formation, and look what happens, right? Look what happens, right? The white candle, spike lows in place, just like here. Right? But in this case, what I'm thinking at this point is, right, let's take this trend line here, let's steal it, and I'm looking like around this cluster right here, even if you put it right here above the spike high. As soon as that gets breached, you have an entry. But again, a lot of times, once again, when I see a formation like that, I'm tempted to take a long, right, when the spike lows on the map. Basically, when this candle just starts opening, right? Well, here at the open, we know, okay, this one is on the map. We have a spike low, possible spike low. We never really know for sure. Right? And this is the idea, right? And in this case, we're getting it. Again, I was trying to record when that happened, and I had to record the entire screen, not just a section. It drove me nuts, so I had to go back to setting up my tools, and hopefully in the future this will be a little bit more fluid. But see what happens here, and this is actually, I'm not lying, this is actually what I anticipated, right? That we would get this kind of price action, and it would basically kind of the same idea. It runs a little bit out of steam. It thinks about what it's going to do. There is actually, look. There is actually, actually I was drawing these before. So let me actually add the one that somehow got deleted. What I'm thinking is, what we might get is actually something like this, right? We might get a retest of what now looks like a very nice cluster. What previously already looked like a nice cluster of resistance, which kind of also, this is what gets really interesting. This is kind of almost a confirmation point. Yeah. some people actually might take interest here, right here. But when you look at, this might just blast higher. But if you're actually lucky, a lot of times what you get is a nice retest. Down here, or maybe bolts down a little bit lower, punches back up. Once that is in place, right, I want to enter, because this is just such a beautiful retest. And if actually this formation happens, then I'm pretty certain that we're going to get a test of the 10,000 mark, right? Then I think we're going to, actually retest that. See, there's another spike high here, so that will be the hurdle, right? So here. Okay, so very interesting price action in Bitcoin right now. It's not across the board. When I look at, for instance, Ethereum, things are a little bit more, kind of copying the action, but a little bit more subdued. Right? Bitcoin seems to be leading it. What else? Monero. Okay. Sure. By the way, I'm using the Poloniex plugin that I actually talked about on the blog a few weeks back. Works pretty nicely. Poloniex got purchased by Circle, I think, about a week ago. And so this is pretty good in terms of liquidity. I think we're going to see a lot more USD pairs actually now on Poloniex over the next few weeks and months, which is great. Integration, there's not too much. I love NinjaTrader because I do a lot of coding with it, and for me that's a very nice integration. Very simple. I get live action this way, and this is actually the Poloniex plugin that I have. I think it's from what are these guys called? Oh yeah, Ninja Tools, right? Yeah, customer support isn't great, but the tools work pretty well. It's a nifty tool. It's one of the few things you can actually, how you can plug yourself into live action on NinjaTrader. There's a few other solutions out there, but unless you want to go to like TradeView and all this kind of stuff, I prefer to have my own. Is it TradeView or TradingView? I think it's TradeView, but it's one of the few opportunities out there to really do decent charting with crypto. Right? But then you have to pay for a monthly service and all this stuff. I'd rather pay a fee to get a nice adapter, and then I have all my tools, all my systems, all my stuff right here in NinjaTrader. But not to you can do this stuff obviously outside of NinjaTrader. Right? There's more and more tools will be available to hook yourself into crypto. But I just saw this live action here. Wanted to share it with you guys. I think it's pretty cool. Okay, so let's go back to Bitcoin. Yeah, let's see what happens here, right? This should be interesting. If this holds here, right? Also understand, guys, that once, especially if you get a retest, a lot of times these retests are not just there for price action in terms of giving just courtesy of people taking profits, participants taking profits. It also establishes more technical context, right? And that's always something I very much look at it. That's the way I look at it. Because look, if you just blast higher here, well, it could be sold off very quickly. But if you kind of work our way up here and we establish context, that is stuff that other traders can can hang their hats on, so to say. Good stuff, and that's actually I prefer seeing that on the way up. Not that I ever say no to nice winnings, right? I actually wanted to go long here, but I was busy installing software, so missed out on this one. But this is really typical movement. Also, if you look at this right here, right, happens the same way on the way down. So Bitcoin is actually on a swing trading basis. Bitcoin is not too difficult to trade, a Bitcoin per se. And I think that probably applies to a few other cryptocurrencies. So if you're a discretionary trader and you really like price action, it's quite fun on a 60-minute. That's my personal impression. All right, guys. There's more from Video Speculator. I hope this has been fun. If it has, we'll do it more often. Cheers.